I don't think the SAT is worth it, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like get your grades, like have amazing grades in school, work hard in school, and the grades from school and the GPA from school will get you wherever you want to go. I feel like the SAT and the ACT, it just isn't worth taking.
Hello, this is Moryah Jackson with the Lead with Heart podcast, and I am so excited to talk to Cassie Wilfork today. And we are going to talk to her about emerging leaders. Cassie joined Habitat for Humanity not too long ago, and I'm really excited. She's fresh out of college. She has great ideas, and we're going to hear what is on her mind as someone from the younger generation in terms of leading with heart. So, Cassie, thank you so much for joining us today, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am 20 years old. I have a Bachelor's of Science in Accounting. Well, business specializing in accounting. Just started my job here at Habitat. I am originally from Augusta, Georgia.
Awesome. Well, one of the things that I think is very fascinating about you and your journey is that you graduated from high school when you were 16. Tell us a little bit about your thought process behind that and what that journey looked like.
Well, my mom, she motivated me to, I got presented the opportunity to graduate early, my 10th grade year. So I talked to my mom about it like all summer, and she motivated me basically saying that I could like get a head start on everything, like get a head start on my career and, setting up life for myself. So I went ahead and took that opportunity and kind of just grew up. Like it made me grow up faster.
And so I love that you said you took advantage of the opportunity. Were you a little bit nervous? Were you excited? How did you feel as you made that decision, particularly at, such a young age?
Well, I was 100% nervous because I didn't know what life would bring after graduation. Like I had applied for Savannah State University, but they had like really, really high SAT scores. So I took the SAT like 3 times and I didn't meet the score. So it was like the end of summer and like everything that I was thinking before, it just felt like it was like true. Like all the negative thoughts felt like they were coming true. So I didn't know like where I was gonna go with it. But I remembered that the college that I did attend, South Carolina State University, they came to my school and had accepted me. That was like the only school to accept me. So I went ahead and I went forward with finishing the application to go there. And yeah, everything turned around.
That's so great to hear that things turned around. And one of the things that I would like to point out, so many young people stress about SAT scores. So it's good to hear, great. It was not good during the process. Like I know that wasn't a great experience for you, but to think that you made it to the other side and it's okay. And you're motivated, you're capable, your work ethic is amazing. And so I would just love for you to share a little bit of advice for young people and even maybe their parents or guardians who are just concerned about SAT scores or stressed about SAT scores.
Honestly, I feel like there isn't enough studying you can do like when it comes to taking the SAT. It's more of a like you could study for 100 days straight, get there, and a lot of the questions on the SAT aren't necessarily aren't necessarily similar to the questions that you studied. I
Mhm.
don't think the SAT is worth it, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
I feel like get your grades, like have amazing grades in school, work hard in school, and the grades from school and the GPA from school will get you wherever you want to go. I feel like the SAT and the ACT, it just isn't worth taking.
Yeah. Hey, that's your experience. I think that's great advice. And I think you are a great example of what leading with heart is. You know, you didn't give up, you were resilient, you stayed focused. And, you know, fortunately for you, it worked out. So I think that's a great story to share. And hats off to you for just staying persistent. I know that's not easy. And now things are working out in the way that you want to do that. I'm a little bit curious. Did you always know you wanted to be an accountant, or how did you find your way and the major that you decided to study?
So I was in my sophomore year in college and my original major was computer science. So my sophomore year in college, I had a programming class. It was like programming two, and it was like one of the hardest classes I've ever taken in my life. So it got to the end, and I realized that the professor wasn't really a professor to go into detail when it came to certain things, even if you would like ask for the help. So one of my friends invited me to the College of Business because he was a economic major, business economic major. So he invited me to the School of Business, and I went there and I met with an advisor that was at the event, and he just came up to me and he said that he saw, like, a future accountant in front of him. So I took his advice and I went ahead. The next semester was coming up, so I went ahead and I enrolled in the accounting program. And he advised me, basically saying that he was going to help me when it came to things I didn't necessarily understand, and things like that. So the first accounting class, he was the professor. The advisor was the professor. So it kind of made things a little bit more easier for me. And I realized, like, if all professors were like him, everything would be easy. So, yeah.
I love to hear that. There is a person that you can point to that made a difference in your life and helped you find your path. They saw something in you. Could you talk a little bit more about this experience and this advisor? I love that you said, you know, if more people taught like him, you know, that would be helpful. So, kind of what was it about him that really helped you, inspired you, or motivated you?
So I feel like, well, for one, his name is Christopher Caraway. He is the um, accounting advisor at South Carolina State University. Um, I feel like when it comes to teaching, like especially with like my generation, the curriculum has to be interesting in a way, like something that will grasp the attention of all of the students. Like it has to be very interactive and things like that. So in the class, he would always have like discussions and just things to kind of get everybody on the same page, things to connect all of the students. And he made it a safe space. Like after every class, I would say half of the class would storm to his office and just sit in there until our next class. Like he made it feel like he was a part of our family, if that makes sense. Like he made sure to build that bond and that connection with all of his students. I feel like if all teachers were like that, then, things would be easier.
Wow, that is such a powerful story. And I mean, obviously, he leads with heart. You know, he cares, he connects, and he's able to communicate. And I would love to hear more. You're like, okay, my generation needs this. My generation, you know, needs to have some interaction. It needs to be interesting. What else do you think is important for your generation, particularly when it comes to the workplace, and also just making a difference in the community? It seems like that connection and community really mattered in that classroom. So I would just love to hear more about that. So you talked about what your generation needs to be successful in school. I'm curious to know, what do you think your generation needs to be successful in the workplace, or, you know, what's success look like in terms of community? Just any of your thoughts around that.
So I would say in the workplace, like with my generation being so heavily influenced when it comes to social media, a company, like say like TikTok, for example. Everybody in my generation is on TikTok. So like a company TikTok, and like the company does like maybe like does like the trending sounds on there, it would kind of bring everybody in the workplace together, make everybody feel as if it's a team. Not necessarily a laid back work environment, but something where, like, the supervisors aren't necessarily hovering over your shoulder every 5 seconds, just giving you that flexibility and that space to accomplish your work.
That's great. In terms of workplace, I mean, I think some of the things that you're describing, really apply to everyone. People want to be able to leverage their skill set, have some independence, have some autonomy, do what they were hired to do and not necessarily have somebody micromanage them. So for me, it's great to hear that from you. Hey, we want to be able to show what we can do. We want to be able to work. And it's also interesting for me to hear, you say not necessarily a laid back environment, because let's be honest, so often we hear people say, oh, free snacks, or, let's have games, or let's have happy hour. But obviously, again, with you and your work ethic, you want to get the job done. You want to learn, you want to contribute, you want to be a part of a team. And so I think that's something that's really important for people to hear and understand. So often it's like, oh, the young people. But again, there are so many young people doing great things. And I think the future is bright, especially with someone like you who was able to finish high school early, graduate from college early, and now you're starting your first career. And I just think there's so much potential. You're welcome. You're welcome. I would love to change gears a little bit and hear about your involvement in the community. You definitely care about the community. I've heard you talk about some ideas of things that you want to do to give back. So tell me a little bit about some of your community service or the ways in which you've been involved in the community.
Well, when I went to South Carolina State University, me and about three of my friends, I'm sorry, me and three of my friends, we volunteered at the Samaritan House of Orangeburg. And we basically would just like go out to their events and help them. Like they had a chili event. So like well, not everybody in the community, but a lot of people from the community came and they brought their homemade chili and sold it. So we would help when it came to setting up and when it came to selling the chili for them. We would also go to the actual building and we would pass out food to the people that lived there or maybe the people that just, came up and came to get food or whatever. It was more of it was like a housing center plus a food bank. So yeah, we would help all around the building. Um, what's I also volunteered at my aunt has a tutoring business in Augusta, and I volunteered there, to mentor the young kids and basically help them when it came to schoolwork and stuff like that.
I've loved to hear that. So I'm curious to know what motivated you to get involved. What was it about these opportunities that inspired you to use your free time to go make a difference?
Well, I mean, it wasn't necessarily it wasn't necessarily about the opportunities. It was more of a situation. So my aunt, she's the type of person to, no matter the circumstance or no matter the consequence or no matter what she's going through, she's the type of person to always, you know, like Habitat says, not a handout, a hand up, not a handout. So that was her. Like she didn't necessarily give it to you. I mean, you obviously had to show her that you would work hard for it, but she was willing to give it to you. You know what I mean? So she was that type of person. She had her own business. It was a like a personal care home type business, but that wasn't the only thing she was focused on. She would, like, even with family members who were in need, she would be that person that they could call to, get that help from her, stuff like that. So she's the one who motivated me to pursue those opportunities and also to just be that person that someone may need in their life.
I love that. So really you were inspired by your aunt, and she modeled and showed you the way and said, this is how we give back. These are the ways that you can make a difference. And I think that's really inspiring to hear that. So thank you for sharing that. So you have done a lot in a short amount of time. I'm curious to know, what advice would you give to your younger self? What do you wish you knew back when you were 16?
I wish I knew to believe in myself and put myself first at all times because, like people say, self love is the best love. So, if I would have focused on myself a little bit more when I first graduated high school, then, I mean, I would be where I am today, but I would be so much better, like regarding like mental health and things of that nature. Just believe in yourself, really.
I love that, and thank you for bringing up mental health. It seems like you've overcome a lot. I definitely know that from talking to you. What advice do you have for young people, especially to take care of their mental health? Like, do you have some practical tips or things that really helped you out?
Well, I'm a musician, so I make music to like, help cope with whatever may be going through my mind or whatever I'm going through. So I say really just find a hobby, like something that will occupy 100% of your time whenever, you're in that dark place. Because like, it'll also like help you grow because obviously you find that hobby, you don't necessarily know what to do with the hobby, but the more you do it, the more you progress, the better you get. So I say start a hobby, find something that will help you cope.
That's really good. When did you get into music?
I've been into music since I was 13.
Nice. What do you remember? What was that aha moment for you?
My brother, actually. My brother, he's a rapper. Well, I mean, he stopped now, but yeah, he was a rapper. And every time he would like come to the house, he would be like, "Oh, Cassie, do you want to hear a new rap?" And he would perform or whatever. And it just kind of, I don't know, it just gave me a thrill. So, but I mean, I've learned like when with music, the more I did it, the better I got. And I've actually learned that I can sing. So, you know, yeah.
Good. I love that. I think that's great. And, a part of leading with heart is doing things that bring you joy, sharing happiness and joy with other people as well. And so it's really good to hear that you're into music because music is such a powerful way to connect with people. And I do believe it's a universal language. And of course, it's something that also is very therapeutic, a lot of people can connect experiences or memories to music. So I think it's a great talent that you're into it. And it's awesome that you said that you learned that you can sing. When you said that, it seems like you were a little bit surprised. So I want to hear a little bit more. Tell me, when did you learn that you could sing? What, what helped you discover this hidden talent that you didn't know about?
Uh, I was I was either in eighth or ninth grade, and I was in my music teacher's class. But it was like the end of the day, and we were getting ready for they were practicing for like some type of ball type dance, and one of the songs that was playing, I I was singing it, and it just cut off suddenly, and I was still going. So the music teacher was like, "Oh my gosh, Cassie, you can sing." So from that day forward, I just like, I didn't hear it at first. Obviously, I thought I sounded horrible, but I kept going. And now it's like more, that's something that I do all the time now. I don't necessarily rap like my brother would rap, but now it's more of a harmonize when the instrumental comes on and, you know, drag my vocals, stuff like that. So yeah.
I love it. That's a great story. In that moment, were you embarrassed? Were you uncomfortable? That just seems, from you telling it seemed like the music was playing and then all of a sudden the music stopped and you were the only one singing.
No, I wasn't embarrassed actually. I don't know, it just kinda, yeah, it gave me like happiness, you know? I mean, I had chill bumps or whatever, but yeah.
That's good. That's good to hear. So, shifting a little bit, I would love to hear, what is your definition of leadership? How do you define leadership?
My definition of leadership is just being being that voice for people and being there for people when it may be hard for them, being that person to understand them and help them whenever they need your help, stuff like that.
I love that. It's like you're talking about being a compassionate leader, and that's a big part of this podcast. How do you demonstrate and show compassion for people? Leadership is all about people. And I think sometimes in workplaces or just in the, just day to day, we forget we're all humans, we're all people. And how do you connect to humanity? So I love to hear that compassion is really important to you. Kind of connected to that question as well. Tell me a little bit about the values that are most important to you.
So my most important values, we have loyalty, empathy, growth, and purpose. So when it comes to loyalty, it's more of a situation where it's important if I say that I'm here for you, then I actually mean it. Like there's no need to, overthink it or, constantly question what I'm doing. And that just goes for anybody. Even with you, like if you say that you're here for me, obviously I'm going to expect you to, be here for me. Empathy, so basically you never really know what someone is going through. And I myself, I've had the experience of people not necessarily showing me the empathy that I needed. So empathy, and we have growth. Um, just like when I was reading the book, First You Have to Row a Little Boat. It's more of a situation where you're not stuck, you're just in irons. So it's like you're constantly evolving. There's just, sometimes life hits a pause just so that you can catch up. You know what I mean? And then purpose. I feel like everything that I'm doing, it's rooted into something that was meaningful and important to me.
So it sounds like the way in which you talked about your values, you've thought about this. How did you identify what your values were?
December 2024 to March 2025, I was going to therapy. And, my therapist, she kind of helped me with my mental health and helped me with my security within myself. And one of the sessions, she included these value cards. And it was about maybe like, I would say 50 cards. And out of the 50 cards, she told me to choose 10.
That's really powerful. Thank you for sharing that. And also thank you for talking about going to therapy. I think that's something that is still considered taboo, even though we talk about mental health a lot. I've definitely gone to therapists over the years and they've helped me and they've also given me skills to help me learn how to cope. And, it's amazing what a person who's professionally trained to help you walk through these situations can do in terms of developing your resiliency or developing your ability to navigate difficult situations. Do you have any recommendations for people who might be considering therapy, but they're hesitant to take the step and find a therapist?
Well, I actually have a friend that I kind of persuaded to go to therapy because it helped me so much. But they actually, before their first appointment, they canceled. And they were saying that they were scared to be judged. But I had to let them know that the therapist isn't there to judge you. I mean, the therapist is there to obviously do their job. It's to help you with whatever you may be inquiring help for. So I would just say go, go into a therapy session with an open mind, obviously, because the therapist has to get to know you just like you have to get to know the therapist. Obviously, after that first visit, well, yeah, after the first visit, you'll feel comfortable because you'll know, like you'll feel. I'm big on feeling energy. You'll feel that energy. You will know on that first visit whether or not that therapist is for you or not for you.
That's good. And what I would say too is even if that therapist doesn't feel like they're fit, take the time to find another one. I've gone multiple therapists and there are multiple people and sometimes it may not be a fit, but it's definitely worth it to take the time. And every time you go to one, you develop the skill set to figure out, okay, who's going to work best for me and what I need at this moment or this season. So I think that's important too. It's great that you were there to support your friend. You are a great person to have in her community. And so I would like to know, what does the word community mean to you?
Community to me means family. I mean, obviously, if you don't have anyone else, you will always have your community because there are always different things that can help you, like with mental health. There may be like a mental health seminar going on for free in your community. You could go there. And that's also why I feel like it's important to always like pour back into the community. So because if you pour back into the community, that's more people can be helped. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's great. I love it. And, talking about community, that's part of the reason why I wanted to launch this podcast. There's so much negativity. There's so much, misinformation, disinformation, discord. And I really wanted to have conversations with people who I consider are bright spots in the community, people doing good work, taking care of others. And so, you know, right now, what is giving you hope? What's inspiring to you right now?
What gives me hope is the ability to help people who actually need it. It just gives me the feeling that, it's purposeful. It lights up my heart to help people, obviously. I'm big on that. I don't know, it just reminds me of my aunt once again, because I know that she would, the things I'm doing what I feel like she would be doing and what I feel like she would be proud of. So, making her proud just kind of lights up my heart a bit.
I love that. And you saying that, it really aligns with so much of the research about the importance of volunteering. So often when people volunteer, they want to help someone else, but in the process of helping someone else, they're also helping themselves. It feels good. It's good for your well-being. It's good for your mental health. It's building community. And so I love that you just talk about how it just lights up your heart to give back and to make a difference. I think that's really important. This has been a great conversation, Cassie. I mean, you exemplify what it means to lead with heart. Before we wrap up, I just want to know, is there, what message would you like to leave with our listeners? Or was there anything that we left out that you would just like for people to hear or know or understand?
My message to others would be to do whatever it is that you want to do, because in the end, it will be worth it, whether or not it worked. I feel like things happen for a reason. So if if you fail, that doesn't necessarily mean you have to give up. You should keep going, because in the end, it's worth it. I mean, it failed for a reason this time. Once you get back up and get yourself together again, try again, you may succeed with that. So that's my message.
I think that's a powerful message. It's important to do what, you are called to do. Don't be afraid. I don't think there's ever a perfect time. You learn as you go. And then here's the thing, when you start over, or if, something doesn't go well, when you try again, you're starting from experience. You learned something along the way, and it just increases your chances, of, whatever success looks like. So I think that's a great message to leave with people. And I really do appreciate you and what you're doing. You are a bright spot. You definitely inspire me. And what I like to tell so many people, so often we talk about, oh, the younger generation, this or that, and that's normal. It happens every time. But talking to young people like you, the future really is in good hands. And it's so important for people to just let you shine, let you lead, support you along the way. So thank you for everything you do. And thank you for sharing this positive message today. I really appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.